What's something that disqualifies a woman for a relationship, no matter how beautiful and nice she is? If she doesn't like you back. I know it seems stupid, but dude, so many guys run around girls that really don't give a damn about them. That should be number one on the list. You reminded me of this exchange from the movie Stardust. Elaine, tell me about Victoria. Then, Tristan, well, she, there's nothing more to tell you. Elaine, the little I know about love is that it's unconditional. It's not something you can buy. Tristan, hang on. This wasn't about me buying her love. This was a way for me to prove to her how I felt. Elaine, and what's she doing to prove how she feels about you? That movie and book were so great and thought-provoking. I highly recommend reading the book. It's quite different and just as good. And dancing. Prancing De Niro. We always knew you was oopsie. Already being in a relationship. Can't admit to being wrong. Been there. It's hell. I used to brush this off and thought they could change, but it's never happened so far. Poor communication and willingness to tell each other the truth. When I was younger, I spent far too much time talking about symptoms of issues with partners rather than the core issue. They had a justified excuse for every bad habit. It was definitely on both ends. Fundamental things that would go unaddressed because you didn't want the fun times to end, even though we'd be incompatible in the long run. I've definitely been in those shoes and on both sides of that situation. Props to you for growing and recognizing how to improve for the future. Someone who doesn't listen or pay attention, does all the talking. Can't stand anyone like that. I'm a nervous talker and this has ruined so many dates for me. But I do listen and pay attention. Bruh, I'm a nervous listener. We'd make a great couple. Now kiss. Too obsessed with social media. Underrated comment right here. As well as just being obsessed with their smartphones in general. I once had to drive back home from a date because her battery died. We were already inside the restaurant. She insisted that we go back to her place right now. I drove her home, dropped her off, and told her that this wouldn't work out. Part of me wonders if this wasn't a safety concern for her tbh, and not one that necessarily had anything to do with you personally. If I were on a date, I'd probably feel uncomfortable having a dead phone in case things went south on the date and I couldn't get myself home, notify somebody I knew, etc. But I also wouldn't put myself in that position by showing up to a date with a critically low phone battery. Possibly another angle to the interaction to consider. I wasn't there though, so this is of course just a total speculation. I couldn't get myself home. But, like, that problem existed one way or the other, didn't it? She still relied on the guy to drive her home. So she just chose to 100% torpedo the date. But at least it was on her own terms, rather than let it be, possibly, torpedoed by accident later. I had thoughts about that too. But I didn't want to get too deep into different scenarios and assumptions and hypotheticals about a situation I was not present for, and in which I know neither of the participants had her. It's a weird one overall. That's for sure. If she gossips non-stop to you about her dumbest friends, that means she gossips about you to her dumbest friends non-stop too. I find it's easier to describe what I'm looking for than what I'm not. When I look at you, do I go, yeah, combining my life with hers seems like a good idea, or not? So for example, I wouldn't date a smoker because I don't want the smell, cost, or health problems to be a part of our combined life. I had a close friend confess her feelings to me recently, and I had to politely say I'd rather be friends because of this reason. I have no interest in going to Disneyland or on a Disney cruise. I hate the music she listens to, and I don't want kids. I know those are core parts of her life. I don't know if either of us would be happy in that relationship, which sucks. But I don't think combining our lives would be smart. One of us would be unhappy. I'm the same way about Disney. Never been. Never want to go. Never want my kids to go or watch many of the movies my generation grew up on. It is interesting that it can really be a huge indicator of value system. I fucked up and had 2 kids with somebody who pretended to understand my aversion to the whole thing, but whose family is way into it. The moment we actually had kids, he immediately started pushing that they would be spending lots of time at Disneyland. He is no longer my husband for many reasons. When she doesn't like to cuddle, little spoon or big spoon, if she's not down to switch then I'm not down for S. I love being the little spoon though don't know how I'd feel being the big one lol. It's cool. Both my wife and I enjoy being the big spoon. So we usually compromise and I get some minutes being the big spoon. Then we switch and we fall asleep with her being the big spoon. XD. Immaturity. If she's not able to function as a responsible adult, a relationship will get into trouble. I don't like inauthentic partners. I don't like cheaters. I don't like people who don't move with intention. I hate a goofy uhhidk haharumpha. I hate a goofy uhhidk haharumpha mayo this hit home. Dated a girl who I found to be very attractive and was a lot of fun to spend time with, but she couldn't make a decision to save her life. Never knew where to eat or what she was in the mood for. Never knew what to watch. Would never agree on a place to travel. Never knew what to do while there. In the end, our entire relationship was basically me doing things and her tagging along. My wife phoned me from therapy to ask me if she was indecisive. The therapist asked, "Do you think you're indecisive?" And she said, "I don't know. Let me ask someone." "Yeah love, I think it's no mystery. She decided to marry you though, right?" He asked her to marry him and then she asked him if it was okay for her to marry him and he said yes. Half the top responses have completely missed the point of the question. Being entitled or impolite or whatever makes her not nice by default. For me, it'd be if she's a heavy drinker. Yeah, that's bothering me too. Makes it kinda annoying because I don't wanna tell the op anything she's already heard. Someone actually said racist. No sense of humor. When she always stonewalls you and acts cold. When you try communicating she gives vague or one-word replies, and then wonders why you just don't really care to talk about your day anymore. No kissing. Dated a girl who just couldn't do kissing. She found it gross and icky. I found that impossible, as it makes naturally getting into the vibe for sex very difficult, as there is sort of a natural escalation of foreplay with it all. You kiss passionately, and then one thing leads to another. It's very hard to go from a warm embrace to getting naked when skipping kissing. Also, she was really pretty, so I wanted to kiss her. I dated a girl that hated to kiss, but would go absolutely ham on a D and swallow every time. Was weird. Just wrote a post in this thread. I dated a gal who would enthusiastically put a tongue/mouth anywhere but on my mouth. She said kissing too intimate for her, since she knows the people she dates have licked someone else's pussy/ass/feet before her, and she doesn't want to pass around her D breath either. Lols. Entitlement or anger issues. That would mean she's not nice. Yeah. About half of the answers it are already covered by that part of the question. If she's entitled, has anger issues, is rude to the waiter, is a narcissist, is controlling etc. Your standards for no matter how nice are pretty low, if you have to add this as a separate caveat. Bad hygiene practices. If she has nothing interesting to say I can't take it. I need some interesting. Must be able to hold a conversation also her. K. Cool. Haha. No. Sure. That's why I have to hold a conversation. Because you can't. What did you think of movie book song? It was good. Those types of people irritate me to the depths of my soul. I just stop talking to them. They're either boring or not interested. Either way, I'm out. Edit. Grammar. Poor treatment of pets and people below them in society. Jealousy over every social interaction you have with every single person in your life. It's flattering when you're in your teens and 20s that someone feels so passionate about you. But it's unhealthy and isolating because you find yourself cutting friends off because it's easier than dealing with the drama she creates over it. Having a spouse or boyfriend. Hey, you could do a lot worse than my wife. Babe, we talked about this. If you're offering me around, you are supposed to text me and ask when my calendar is open. I'm filling up pretty quickly over here. If someone doesn't give me upvotes for those brilliant puns, I'm gonna be really annoyed for about 2 minutes and then forget about it. Lol. Snake in the grass. I know an absolute stunning women. Like 11/10ths, but my spider senses scream bloody murder whenever we interact. I trust her as far as I can throw a train engine. I would agree 100%. I didn't understand it for a while. But essentially your gut instinct screams get away from this person. We seemed like a great match on paper, but I could not trust her. Wanting an open/poly relationship with me. Fell for it lol. Never again. Lots of dudes orbiting her. Too many potential saboteurs. No thanks. If she's poly, wants to be poly/open, or doesn't see monogamy and loyalty as a main pillar of a relationship. Smoking for me.